Hey, all you rock stars out there. My name is Olivia. This is the Orange Blossom special show. If you are sitting here wondering, man, I wonder how you came up with such a cool, unique, never heard of name for a podcast ever. Just know I'm naming it after my dad's car, the Orange Blossom Special, which was named after a Johnny Cash song, which was named after a train. So that's kind of the long story. Life happens, and I guess we'll get the heavy stuff out of the way first. And that is the fact that on July 19th of 2023, my dad decided to no longer be with us. And no, he did not own the life himself. He just went. I have been wanting to start a podcast for a long time, actually. I wanted to call it the Welcome to the South Side. There's a bunch of different things I had for it. And after, the passing of my dad, I thought that one of the best things that I could do therapy wise, remembrance wise, is I guess dedicate this to him. Try to tell stories. I've, spent a lot of time with my dad and his friends. I still see his friends a lot. And my dad, his sports cars, he had an SS2 Camaro. I do not have the car, so don't come trying to hunt me down for it. I don't have it. So, but someone else does. So someone in our family don't have it, but I know everyone loved it. I know he was known around town for it. If you're sitting here thinking, well, you're just a girl, what do you know about cars? Oh my gosh. Well, actually, my grandpa retired with GM. I worked for Enterprise. My sister worked for Enterprise. So most of us in my dad's side of the family have been involved in the auto industry some way, shape, or form. And, I do have an appreciation for cars. Growing up, my dad had a black tuxedo. I think it was in 1980. Maybe, I don't think it was an 86. It was in 1980 tuxedo Corvette. I forget the model type, but those were some of, I think, my fondest memories growing up. I love Corvettes, by the way. I think, everyone asks about your dream car. I think I would take a Corvette in 2 seconds. I am obviously a girl in the sense that I don't know how to drive a stick shift. So I don't know if me having a 1980 Corvette or a Cadillac convertible or any of those types of things, I don't think it would be a good fit. I think we have to go kind of newer here unless I find someone who knows how to drive a stick shift. And I know all these guys can be like, girl, you can ride my stick shift anytime you want, or just the comments that I know people are going to make on that. But yeah, I'm an idiot when it comes to driving and driving sports cars. We figured that out pretty young. So yeah, I am very much, I like to be in sports cars. I don't to drive them. I very much am a passenger princess for sure. When I moved to Tampa for grad school and to Florida to be around my dad and my family, pretty much every weekend, Sunday, we really did do the typical, Sunday drive, spent a lot of time with my dad in his Orange Blossom Special, which he freaking burned through tires on that thing. And that's a whole other conversation to have. But he loved that car. I remember the the day he texted us saying that he was getting it. And I was like, what the heck is the Orange Blossom Special? And why are you naming your car that? It's, it's come to have a pretty cool name. We're in Florida. We're in the Sunshine State filled with oranges. Yeah, my dad loved his sports cars. That's kind of the really long version of, why we're naming the show the Orange Blossom Special Show. I definitely am my father's daughter for sure. And always make jokes on, how I could finish his sentences and stuff, talk about things kind of how we progress here. But I think the thing looking back about my dad and stuff is that he was very much someone who he could command a room within 2 seconds if he wanted to. And I think he did a pretty good job from seeing him of knowing when to be in the spotlight and when to give other people space. And the thing I think of so much is how my dad, I feel similar to me, is one of those people who you either right away or you don't. But we have a way of making people warm up to us. And I just think of not so many of his friends, but there was definitely a handful. I'm thinking of a few right now who absolutely hated my dad and thought he was so annoying the first time that they met him. And then they ended up realizing that, my dad was a big guy. He always was most of his life, worked out, things that. So most of his life he's either been the big gym guy or just a big guy later in life. And he definitely had a larger than life personality. I don't think he was admitting that he definitely having the spotlight on him, but he definitely loved being on TV and having commercials and stuff growing up. I feel there are some things he didn't having photos of himself on the internet, but he would be on a TV commercial in 2 seconds if you asked him to. So I don't really know how that one works. But that was definitely him. And I always think of the fact that whenever we would go out in Tampa, I really don't know how this works, but that's just how it was. But literally, I feel this is more embarrassing for me, but we would go hang out in Tampa and stuff. And my dad, he would always come home with people's numbers asking to hang out and stuff. And I don't how do you go out and get more guys' numbers than I do? But he definitely had a way of making people flock towards him. And he definitely was someone that once he got on his bits, people kind of stopped to listen to. And I definitely also have that gift of gab. So, hey, Dad, trying to, keep your memory alive. But in life, you get to decide the energy you bring into a room. And I think it's so important, or this is one thing he always told me, is don't just pay attention to people in the room, but pay attention to how people react if you come into a room or if you're with your friends. Pay attention to how people react to them and the vibe and energy. Do people need to recluse and hide, or do people feel comfortable? And I definitely think about that a lot. We have the power to bring positivity places, to bring love places. And you get to decide whether you are someone who's going to bring peace, love, and joy and happiness, or whether you want to bring in the complete opposite. And so much of that has to do with how you treat people, how you hold yourself, and being able to read the room. And living in New York, I definitely think that's something that you learn pretty quickly. But I know based off of the conversations that I've had with people since his passing, everyone is, yeah, the laughter's gone, the joy's gone. And I'm okay, well, I'm here. I'm trying to bring the same thing here. Hello. But I know it's tough, but I also think that's just a testament to how he was. And I think that's also a really big learning and key opportunity too, is just paying attention to how people treat others, paying attention to reactions of people, especially if you're getting to know someone in that regards. I'm going to give you guys some tea or some advice or a little tidbit. If you bring a girl into a room and all of a sudden all the other women start to get quiet or they tend to give the side eye, I don't even know if guys pay attention to this stuff or not. You're on a date with someone and you bring them into a room and you either can feel that there's a negative energy shift or that women start getting quiet, people start kind of giving the side eye. That is probably a good indication that you shouldn't be with the person that you are dating. And girls are very in tune to girls and girls who are good people and not people who are fake and inauthentic. And again, different strokes for different folks. If you're not naturally a good person and you just think that she's hot and that's why you're dating her, then that's on you. But during this whole grieving process, a lot of older conversations with my dad's friends who are significantly older, and them either talking about their failed marriages or talking about their failed relationships and really not understanding who they actually married until kind of the marriage was done, vice versa. And again, I'm just going off of conversations that I've literally had with people. So if you have different conversations with people, that's you, that's your opinion. It's literally, I'm a girl. It's literally just my freaking opinion. But I think right now, especially where we're at for society, I think people tend to be so much more focused on the superficial things and ignoring the red flags when it comes to people who they're dating just because they're desperate. And that's why the divorce rate is what it is. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news to people. And I don't want to hear this conversation of, well, you don't really know someone until you get to know them 8 months. And I don't know where you're at with your faith and stuff. Again, your walk with the Lord is your walk with the Lord. I have nothing to do with your relationship between you and God or lack of there, whatever. But as a Christian, okay, there is this biblical thing called discernment. And if you legitimately want to know whether someone who you're dating is supposed to be in your life or not, ask God that question. And all you have to say is, God, if they are not meant to be in my life or we are not meant to be together, show me a sign. He will, this is, there's a lot of us waiting for our spouses out there. I digress. But if you want to know the people who are supposed to be in your life or not, and you say that prayer, I am telling you from a fact that there is no quicker prayer in this life that he will answer than the one where you pray whether that person's supposed to be in your life, you're dating, marriage, etc. He will FedEx Express you that overnight. And that's what I have to say on that. No quicker I swear. That's been my experience. Y'all are mad because he ghosted you. You prayed to God and the Holy Ghost came in and intervened, and that's why he ghosted you. It wasn't him, it was the Holy Ghost saying, sis, my guy, I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna protect you because you said that prayer. Talking to people who talking to my dad friends, talking to different people and everything like that. This I think is just kind of been my main observation. And the one thing I will say is that the person who you marry, the friends who you have very much have a significant trajectory on where your life goes and where your life is heading. And very important that you surround yourself with people who are good charactered people who have a set direction in life, who, if you're driven and motivated, and not people who are going to get you tied up with the wrong groups of people and the wrong crowd. And I understand people in life make mistakes, and there is no mistake in this world that you could possibly make that God hasn't had a solution or answer for. And in a generation now where we are very much in a mental health crisis, I think that there's so many people who, because of either rejection or because of their failure to make mistakes, decide that their life isn't worth living because they can't see a way out. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but I just want to let you know, as someone who didn't just lose a parent last year, but who I have gone through so much stuff in my 20s. I feel I've gone through almost as much stuff within, I don't know, I'm 28 now, within these past 8 years of my life than most people go through in 15, 20 years. I've gone through a lot more than people know about, and I'll probably continue to share some things, but sticking on topic with losing a parent and dealing with grief and everything, is that something can happen and you can feel it's the end of the world, but I promise you that it's not. And even if you can't see it now, you will eventually come out on the other side, and you have to give yourself space and grace and know that things are going to take longer to get through than you may either want to know or realize, and that's okay. I know for me, something that I've been struggling with lately is just the length of time that it's been taking me to heal and process things, and knowing what I like to do, knowing that I'm not doing some things right now. But at the same time, everyone's healing process is different, and everyone is healing from certain things. It could be a breakup, it could be losing someone close to you, it could be losing a parent. Maybe you lost that job that you've had for 15, 20 years that you absolutely loved, and you thought you were going to retire and die in your office. And if there's anything that I have learned from this past year of what I've gone through and what my friends have gone through, is that growing pains are really tough and healing is really tough. Healing's a lot harder than I think we believe it is. And that's literally because when you've been out of balance or things have been out of order and you're now trying to bring everything back in, your body, mind, soul has to get readjusted to what your new normal is. And when you get whacked out of line and you're trying to put things back in place, it's very much uncomfortable because your body is used to being out of alignment, and now you have to realign it. Getting it to the correct way is foreign and it's uncomfortable, but you have to go through those uncomfortable foreign seasons in order for you to be in order and be set up for success in the way that God has created for you to have. And every single person who is listening to this is probably at different points in their lives, and that's perfectly fine. I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday, and she goes, I don't think I'm a Christian anymore. And I'm, what makes you say that? And she's like, I just feel I'm always striving and that my work is never going to be completed, and that I feel I'm always striving for this thing. And I told her, I said, guess what, kid? I didn't say guess what, kid, but I was, guess what? You, until you die, are going to spend your entire life trying to figure things out. Literally until the day you die. There are two things that are guaranteed in life, that you live and die. And when, as my dad's friend said, when you are born on this earth, your ticket is punched. God already knows when your time is up. And I really do think you spend your whole life or our whole lives trying to figure out this thing called life. And I think that things, social media, especially to where it's gotten now, is to the point where everyone is literally comparing themselves to every single person on the planet. And social media does a really good job at making you think that everyone else has it figured out except for you. But yeah, your ticket is punched when you get onto this lovely circular motion rock that we're on called planet Earth. And there's just certain things in life that we won't have figured out until we get to the next one. So this is the first episode of the wonderful Orange Blossom special show. We're going to get this thing rocking and rolling and moving a little bit farther, but just wanted to kind of give a quick introduction. I'm going to need another episode to kind of dive into who I am, where I'm from, all this other jazzy stuff. But this main episode is to kind of give a glimpse to, who my dad was. If you know him, great. If not, I am going to respect his wishes and not put his pictures on the internet, because he would literally fucking kill me. He would kill me. I could put his picture of his car on here, but yeah, it was an orange it's in the logo, whatever. It's an orange SS2 Camaro, and it has black things on it. It's called the Orange Blossom Special. So yeah. With that, kids, keep on rocking and rolling. Keep those, those boogie shoes on, and keep on laughing, because realistically, that's all we can do. Life is too every single day. If I ever try to leave the house without coffee, life is too short not to take your shit in the morning and have a coffee and to not drink cold beer. And I'm going to stand by that. So rock on, kids. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace. Bye.